curls are for the girls when you get 2 picks on a day.
And I'm Gavin Carlson. And look, number 3 option, number 4 option, screw all that. We got the best option in the NFL in Puka Nacua.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Whose house, baby? Rams house, whose squad? Mob Squad. The Rams Squad Show right here on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel. We are back, and the Rams are back in the win column in an absolutely unreal ball game. Rams 27, the previously undefeated Colts 20. This game had a dang near walk-off touchdown. It had a would-be game-winning touchdown called back. It had a would-be touchdown where you got too fancy, celebrated too early, and fumbled the ball out of the back of the end zone. This game had everything, but most importantly, it ends with a win for the Rams, who move to 3-1, 2-0 at SoFi, and right back atop the NFC West, which we absolutely love to see. Shout out to everybody in here. Leave those comments throughout the show. We are live, of course, and I'm with the Mob Squad, Big Brock and D-Mac. I'm thinking back to that first game where D-Mac said, unclench those butt cheeks, right? That was another one of these games. Oh, my word. It felt like the Rams could have lost this game about 3 different times. They could have won this game 3 different times, but they get the job done. And D-Mac, that Tutu Atwell stock, I know you sold some of it at Fidelity last week. Did you buy some of it back right before this game? The floor is yours after that game-winning touchdown.
Look, I did sell a couple of mansions on Tutu Atwell Island, but I still had some condos left. I didn't sell all my stock. And yes, the haters were saying, okay, it's Tutu ain't well, but that looked like a $10 million catch to me. His first catch of the game, an 88-yard catch, shook his defender. Looked like he might have fell too, but hey, it just goes to show when you have speed like that, you have to respect it. A perfectly placed ball by Matthew Stafford. I'm not going to lie, I was yelling at my screen saying, just take a knee at the 5. Take a knee at the 5, then get the walk-off kick, whatever. But no, you got to score in that situation. I think that not only is it a big moment that won this game, but also it's a big moment, I think, moving forward for this team saying, hey, that's what I can bring to the offense. Don't look for me on crossers and this and that. I mean, sure, I can do that, but it's, hey, I can beat guys deep. I am a downfield threat. And it was just a great moment for Tutu Atwell, the best catch of his career, 88 yards. And yeah, hey, the Tutu haters, like I said, they are in shambles right now. They are the Homer Simpson meme going back into the hedge at least for a week. So yeah, I was hyped.
Oh, yeah. How can you not be, right? And you're exactly right. We don't need Tutu to have 13 catches. We don't need him to have, 3 touchdowns. We got another guy in Puka Nacua who can do that for us. But this is exactly what you need from him. You just need 1 or 2 big catches a game. We didn't have to wait till week 6 or 7 like I was hypothesizing earlier on the midweek show. We got it right away here in week 4 to seal the dub. Big Brock, I know you're hype, as like we all are. Take me through what that locker room is probably like right now when you get a game-winning touchdown, a game-winning interception. Like, you're 3-1. All that 24-hour thing, that 24-hour rule after the Eagles loss, it's a 24-hour rule after a win like this, or do you maybe let it creep into 36, 48 hours when it's a win like this?
Man, I mean, when you get a win like this, it's always good, man. Like I said in the preview show, it's like this was a must win for the Rams. So for them to get this dub the way they did, through all the mistakes, I was saying on my notes, like, if we do a good job at shooting ourselves in the foot a lot of the times, having a man downfield on a good positive play. It's a holding call here and there, but I mean, it went both ways. The Colts had a lot of mistakes as well. They actually kept us in the game. I mean, going back to the Tutu Atwell play, the announcer showed there are only 10 men on the field for the Colts, So, hey, that's a huge mistake by a team. It's a critical situation in the game. You only got 10 men on the field. So, but, hey, I'm not hating on it. Hey, we got the touchdown. We go off with the win. But, for the most part, man, I just think, man, if we eliminate the mistakes offensively, we can have so much more going on, so many more points. I think I'm done giving the Rams a 14-point lead over anybody. They almost just play good enough to win. And that's about it. So, yeah, it's a phenomenal win. Obviously, man, like I say, you get the 24-hour rule and you move on. Like this, I mean, we all expect them to win against the Colts. But when you win like this, obviously it feels good.
Yeah, and let's not, ignore the fact that there was mistakes all over the field, right? I mean, obviously the Colts think they have a game-winning touchdown. It's called back for a hold by Adonai Mitchell. Of course, he is the oh man player of the game after he not only does that, but fumbles a touchdown, which would have been an incredible touchdown out of the back of the end zone. But so much about the NFL, right? We marvel at all the stellar athletes. We look at the fantasy teams and the scores and the highlights and all that. So much of the NFL is just who makes less mistakes, right? And this was one of those games, like you said, Brock, we have hurt ourselves so many times. It was nice that for once, it was an ugly game by both teams, but for once, it was the other team making all the mistakes, and the Rams got the win because of it, right? That's what it is at the end of the day. I feel like obviously Tutu Atwell silenced a lot of doubters in this ball game with that one catch, but we got to talk about Matthew Stafford silencing a lot of doubters in this ball game, because there was people calling out him and Sean McVey after the last game. I know we were all, debating about what the Rams offense needed to look like in the past game. How about a quick 29 of 41, 375 and 3 tuds, that drive to end the first half where Stafford throws like 500-mile-an-hour fastballs right on the money. You eventually get that touchdown to Davante Adams. He fed Puka Nacua early and often, and he gets the game-winning touchdown there. Matthew Stafford, D-Mac, he looks healthy, and he looks like a quarterback that can lead a top 10 offense like you've been saying all season.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford's an absolute stud. I think in this one, it was for sure his best game of the year. We just have to make him think that every drive is the game-winning drive, and I think he'll be a little more consistent and not miss some of those throws. But this was definitely his best game. Only concern I do have, though, I mean, you mentioned 375 passing yards. You take away Atwell's 88-yard reception, and Puka Nacua had 170 of those receiving yards. That's like 60% of his passing yards. The other receiver that had the most targets was Davante Adams, that had just 5. So it makes you wonder how sustainable that is, just to go and feed Puka. And absolutely, he's established himself as a top 3 receiver at this point. I think it's safe to say with what he brings, but I definitely think that the great part about the end of that game was not only Tutu Atwell saying, hey, welcome to the 2025 season, Mr. Atwell, but also was, hey, we need to spread things up and be a little more dynamic of an offense. I think that's going to just lead to more sustainable winning. And I love that you said that, Brock, because I'm the same way. It's like, we want this team to blow teams out, right? And I was hoping that that'd be a different thing from the 2025 Rams, the 2024 and the 2023 Rams. But no, that's just what this team is. You got to tip your cap to the Colts, but this is not a Rams team that just blows the brakes off a lot of teams. And that's just who this team is.
Yeah. Nail biters galore, unclench those, what's galore. But hey, it certainly builds character and prepares you for the playoffs when every single game is an absolute nail biter. I think what you said about the game-winning drive aspect for Stafford, like, I know you're kind of joking, but you're kind of right. It feels like the same way, we almost unlocked something for the Eagles last week, and I wholeheartedly believe that, right? They looked awful in the first half. They suddenly, A.J. Brown's the best receiver on planet Earth, and then they go out there and for 90% of the game absolutely kill the Bucs today. It felt like, in my opinion, maybe I'm putting too much stock in it, Brock, you tell me, but when the Rams are down 10-6 and the offense has really done nothing other than a pair of field goals and a turnover on downs, and you're going right before the half, you go 96 yards in 2 minutes. You have a couple deep balls for Matthew Stafford in this one, a 23-yarder to Puka, a 16-yarder to Davante, 9-yarder to Puka, 16-yarder to Higbee. And then you get the 17-yarder to Puka, and then that 10-yard touchdown to Davante Adams in the back of the end zone with just 7 seconds left in the first half. The same way Stafford turned it on for the game-winning touchdown, he turned it on for this touchdown drive to end the half. And from there on out, it felt like, sure, there was plenty of punts, but Matthew Stafford felt like, hey, I'm him. I remembered I was him, right? How big was that drive?
Man, it like I said before, man, this team practices on situations constantly. Like, literally, before McVey came to the Rams, we worked on situations. But when he came onto the Rams, we worked on them all the time. So in the situation game where it's 2 minutes left or, before the half or in the game, I feel good about the Rams, possibility of getting in the end zone or getting some points on the board because they practice them all. They practice all the time on this situation. So for me, like you said, Doug, if we just tell him that we're always in a situation, he might play so much better because he feels like the pressure is on him. We need these points. We need to get to the end zone or whatever. Like we're hitting those little 10-yard routes over the football, things like that. Like I seen my man Kobe Parkinson. He caught a couple of passes that I thought was like phenomenal. He came alive. He came alive as well. So, man, the situations get worked on all the time with the Rams. I think where they kind of fall off is running plays in the middle of the game after you get out of your first 15 and getting into the game. That's where they kind of. It's like a limbo area for the Rams. Like, what do we do now? Like, how do we use Puka? How do we use Devontae? So, man, if we just tell Matthew Stafford, like, it's always a situation, we'll probably put up 40, 50 points a game, probably.
D-Mac, what happened in that third quarter?
I think I totally agree. I think they're still not even really tapped into the Devontae Adams experience yet, too. He had 4 catches on 6 targets. Like I said, he was the only other Rams receiver with more than 5 targets in this one, 56 yards. But there was that one play late in the game where Devontae thought it was a screen and he kind of runs the route. The Matthew Stafford goes there and it's late and you're really concerned because downs are so precious at that part of the field with that much time left on the game clock. And I think that really epitomized it. Hey, it is still a work in progress, but it's much more fun to be a work in progress when you're 3-1 versus 1-3 or 2-2. So they're still able to stack up these wins. There's a team could be 4-0 heading into this 49ers game. So yeah, there is a lot to work on, which I think if you're the coaches, you probably feel good about, right, Brock? It's like, hey, you're winning, but we can still show you this stuff on tape that shows you that we're not close to being the football team that we think we're going to be by the end of the season.
Oh, for sure. Like you said, like while you're winning, everything's feel good while you're winning. So mistakes feel good. Everything feels good while you're winning. So absolutely. It's just about, man, getting these things cleaned up before the most important games, which are the playoffs.
Speaking of mistakes, why are you wearing a UCLA shirt on the show? That's a big mistake, man. God, that's just embarrassing. Why do that to yourself?
It's been a rough weekend, right? We got Jeff in here, a loyal viewer of my Angels show. He's like, at least you got one win, right? Between the Angels, UCLA, it's brutal, right? At least the Rams got it done before I jumped off a bridge. But that third quarter, I don't know about you, that third quarter was disgusting. So I'm curious, D-Mac, you see 3 and out, Colts fumble, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That's what the third quarter was. When you're watching that, right, as somebody who is locked in on this team, no pun intended, like, should we be encouraged that the Rams win a game despite the third quarter that disgusting? Like, I mean, like, what in the world happened there for almost an hour of real time?
I mean, it wasn't great football. I mean, at that point, you're holding on to a 13-10 lead. You're not getting this big offensive explosion that we had hoped with the Colts not being a team that brings a lot of great pressure and is successful with their front four and a lot of punts. I mean, 4 plays, 15 yards, 4 plays, 20 yards, 3 plays, -2 yards, 3 plays, 8 yards. I mean, yeah, as you point out, it was just a disaster of a third quarter. And sometimes it just feels like with this Rams team. I mean, I'm here to celebrate this win, but it does feel like there's these big, long lulls during a game that really need to be corrected because you're not going to win late every single game. If you put yourself in a situation where either you have to tie it and win it, make a big Nate Landman peanut punch, make a big Cameron Curl interception. Yeah, the plays have gone the Rams' favor for most of the season, but you would much rather take care of your business early on in a game. So we're running out the clock, right? We're taking knees, a little bit of a laugher, not putting as much stress on all the big bodies out there. And then it's a long season. So I think from an execution standpoint, this offense is still trying to figure itself out. And the great thing about all of this is the defense has stepped up in a major way because this is one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. And if the defense didn't step up like they did in that third quarter, they could have made this an insurmountable lead. So big shout out to that defense for holding down the fort while this offense got things together later in this game.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. When we come back from the break, got to talk about the gifts that the defense got, but also what they did themselves to earn this win. One last thing I do got to say is you do respond from that third quarter, which was awful, with, the most diverse touchdown drive, I guess you could say, of the ball game. It very easily, a lot of teams, they run to their best player or two when things aren't working. And obviously Puka still has 17 targets in this ball game, which is absolutely crazy. But it was nice to see after, the Rams fell behind 20-13. You need that touchdown drive. And it was a little Kyron, a little Colby Parkinson, like Big Brock mentioned, a couple big plays to Devontae Adams, right? It was a nice diverse play that ends with a Puka Nacua touchdown, but still was very, very encouraging. The Rams pick up a 27-20 win. They got some help. We'll talk about that after our first break. We're just getting started here on a third victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We will be right back. My, oh my, what a freaking ball game this one was. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, look, every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is fun. It's a simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. And what I love, this new feature, it's called the injury reboot feature. If your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. How nice is that? PrizePicks doing you a favor. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Today's show also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. Now, look, what I love most, it's how portable they are, right? It's big taste in a tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it, whether you're us right before a show in our room or whether you're a player, maybe sitting on the sideline. You hit a quick 5 Hour Energy before you go out there, Tutu Atwell, and score a game-winning touchdown. So enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Back here live on a victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Rams 27, Colts 20. The previously undefeated Colts, we hand them their first loss. Later in the show, I might have a little rant saying, keep that same energy, national media. We'll get there later. But Big Brock, as someone in the NFL who I don't believe you've ever scored a touchdown, can you explain how someone could fumble the ball when they're crossing the goal line? If in case you don't know what we're talking about, Adonai Mitchell, the Colts receiver, has an unbelievable catch. It looks like it's going to be a 75-yard touchdown from Daniel Jones. Would have put the Colts up double digits in this ball game, and instead we get an absolute gift. Big Brock, what the heck happened there?
Man, I just think the moment got too big for him, man. He makes an incredible play. He breaks off 2 defenders, runs out in the end zone, and the moment just gets too big. And I think what's so perfect about that, not perfect, but I just know the Rams practice on situations like that. I know the Rams practice on going into the end zone, not making the moment about yourself, making it about the team. So every time you see the Rams going in or an offensive player going in, they're covering the ball with 2 hands, over the ball, making sure they get inside the pylon, things like that. Like I recall moments where McVey would get up and show highlights and show clips of like guys fumbling the ball out the end zone and things like that. So we would know what not to do, so we would focus on, what situations need to happen. Because I remember there was a play with Todd Gurley running down, the field. And right before he gets there, he falls down to save time, so we can manage time, so we can keep the ball away from the other team and things like that. Like I said earlier in the show, it's practice. You need to practice on those situations. You need those things need to be, done first in practice, and then when you see it comes out in the game. So obviously, man, when I seen the play happen, I was like, dang, no, he didn't. He just did that. And then I seen him on the sideline. I felt so bad for him, because you just know a player. You didn't go out there trying to make a mistake. Mistakes happen, but man, unfortunately, it happened to them. We won, so hey, all is well in my neighborhood. When a play like that happens to the other team, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, it was crazy. Just the time of that play as well, right? Because it was one of these games where there weren't many big plays, right? It felt like it was going to take a big play from either team to maybe pull away. And that could have been the moment. The Rams certainly dodge a break there. They also dodge a break when it's Adonai Mitchell who has a 53-yard Jonathan Taylor touchdown called back with a hold on Adonai Mitchell. A brutal game for him. D-Mac, are you a little concerned about the secondary when you see the big, long touchdown that should have been and the big, long run that should have been? Obviously, Cam Curl did have 2 picks, but you really gave up 2 touchdowns that were called back.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a perfect day for the defense by any means. Even the defensive line, I don't think was as good as we've seen throughout parts of this season. Jared Verse had some moments for sure. I like the diving attempt by Byron Young. There were some moments there, but yeah, that should have been a 53-yard touchdown. But thankfully, game ball does go to Adonai Mitchell for the holding on that play. And it's a good thing for the Rams, though, that you do now have a history of success against really good running backs. The second week in a row, they've held an elite running back to less than 100 yards rushing. I think you have Jonathan Taylor was like 73 yards in this one. His long was 12 yards. Yes, it should have been a 53-yard tutty that would have changed the game. But yeah, I mean, that's still a hold. I mean, if you went back and look at it, was a blatant hold by Adonai Mitchell that could have impacted the play. And I'm with you, Brock, too. I mean, geez, this dude is – I do not want to check this guy's DMs right now, right, from Colts fans. My man is going to be walking back to Indianapolis on this one. Dude, he looked like he needed a hug, man. He looked like he was about to straight up crying down. And you know what really hurts me? What really hurt is, like, I'm with you. I'm always like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a player, right? But, like, I always kind of, like, think, like, I always, like, have the players back versus, like, the coaches. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, man, like, even though this guy's not on the team that I root for and cover, that would have been his first touchdown. Like, he never scored a touch. Like, if it was like, Deshaun Jackson was like, all right, cool, man, I'll get one on the next one. I'm going to have a plenty of touchdowns. That, like, this guy, I think he's going to have a pretty solid career. But, like, this dude is not going to sleep tonight. Like, he's going to be staring at that fan all night, haunted by that play. And you just got to feel for that dude. But, yeah, Sean McVey, if he did not walk over into that Colts locker room and give him the game ball, I don't know what he's doing. Because he gave the Rams 14 points. I mean, he gave the Rams 14 points in a game that they won 27-20. It was the difference in this football game.
Yeah. And certainly the sympathy needs to be there, right? Like, they always say, act like you've been there before, but DMAC, you're so right. This guy hasn't been there before, right? Like, how's he supposed to act like he's never been there before? He's never caught a touchdown in the NFL. And certainly, even if he had caught touchdowns, it wouldn't have been like that one where it was an incredible play. Like, let's not act like it wasn't an incredible play.
It was a great catch. By the way, let me ask you guys this. When Tutu caught that ball, was the Adonai Mitchell play running through your mind? Like, Tutu, don't do it. Don't even think about it, Tutu.
Right.
Go all the way to the back. Dunk it. My whole thing is this. Dunk it in the field goal. Even though that's kind of played out, if you're always if that's just your habit to dunk it in the field goal, you're through, right? Yeah. Like 360 windmill, do a layup. Man, I'll do a layup. You know what I mean? I'll just shoot it without even jumping. You know what I'm saying? Like, but get through that end zone. But, yeah, I mean, that was definitely something that's going to be one of the low lights of the season for sure.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't know. You ever watch a game? Like, I watch games with my parents, right? And my daddy's old school. Whenever a guy has a run of more than 10 yards, it's put 2 hands on the ball, get down. Whenever he sees a quarterback run, it's slide, go out of bounds, right? It's like, no, in big 2025, right? Like, Josh Allen is trucking guys. Lamar is trying to juke 8 guys before he goes down, right? But the old school guys, sometimes they're right when they say, just go down or just hold on to the ball with 2 hands or just stretch it across the line before you celebrate, right? This was one of those where, oh my goodness, they were showing Derrick Henry in the Baltimore game, like, he's not going to run like any other way than this for the rest of the season. Adonai Mitchell, when he scores that first touchdown, he's going to do the track celebration where he goes through the finish line before he starts celebrating for sure. We got gifts there. We absolutely did, but it still was a great performance from the defense for the most part. This was a Colts team that was just putting up points at will, right? And that's why I want to make sure everyone keeps the same energy when there's people on the preview show saying, who have the Rams beat? Who have the Rams beat? You're talking about the Colts and who they have beat. Who have the Rams beat? Well, if we want to say the Colts are amazing, if we want to say that their 3-0 start wasn't a fluke, then you better give the Rams some credit for holding the Colts to 20 points and doing what they did. Big Brock, what'd you think of the front seven in this ball game? Obviously, Jared Verse had a nice, strip sack that, we weren't able to pick it up, but a great play by him. Another sack from Byron Young, like D-Mac mentioned. Only 2 sacks. We're spoiled. We say only 2 sacks, but what'd you think of the front seven overall? You do hold Jonathan Taylor to 76 yards rushing, like D-Mac said as well.
Man, I think they did a great job. I think they did a great job because the only thing with guys like Jonathan Taylor, bro, you have to contain them. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You try to put them in a bottle and just literally contain them and not let them out, because we've seen how explosive he can get. If it wasn't for Adonai Mitchell getting a holding call on that play, that was going to be a big run. So for me, they did a great job. You seen in the third quarter, it kind of wore on them a little bit, especially when the ball kept changing hands and, the defense had to keep getting on the field. I seen the Colts offensive line start to push our guys off the ball a little bit, and I was like, oh, they need a little rest out there so they can get back to it for the fourth quarter. So I'm glad they all got it together, and they got a lot of pressure. I don't think they got a ton of sacks, but they got tons of pressure. I even seen my man Braden Fisk getting out there, shoving offensive linemen into Daniel Jones's lap so he can't, follow through on a couple of those throws. So they did a good job at earning the right to rush the passer, is what we say in the league, and that's pretty much shutting the run down. So in those third down situations, second down and long situations, you have your opportunity to pin your ears back and go get them. But I want to tip my hat to the Colts offensive line as well, man. I thought they did a great job at holding up our front when we did bring pressure and when we did have 4-man rushes and things like that. They did a great job giving Daniel Jones some time, but our secondary was also phenomenal. So all around, man, yeah, the defense, they get an A from me for Big Brock. I'm very critical of the defense, so they get an A from me. Not an A+, but they just get an A for a solid performance today.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about the defense, too, is you mentioned not a lot of sacks. You had one from Byron Young, one from Jared Verse. Really nice job by that Colts offensive line, which is a little bit of a surprise based on how they look coming into this game. But no big plays, no monster plays by this Colts offense. And the one they did have, we just talked about for 10 minutes, it was a bonehead play by Adonai Mitchell. So that is kind of the style of what this offense is trying to do, is working in tandem, this offense with this defense is, hey, you don't give up big plays, and then you saw a methodical 96-yard drive. You saw them have an explosive play. I think what we learned from this game is this offense is capable of scoring in a multitude of different ways. The efficiency of Kyren Williams, but then you also had a fumble from Kyren Williams. You had some lulls in the offense, and you had some explosive plays. You had some methodical drives. You had a long stretch where you didn't do very much. So the ingredients are there for a really productive offense, and the defense is holding steady. And I think what makes up for the lack of pressure, 2 big interceptions. I mean, this is a team that struggled. They've been bottom third in the league over the last couple of years in takeaways. So to have a dude who hadn't had a turnover since 2000 have 2 in the same game, you got to feel really great for Cam Curl to go out there and get the job done. It was just a great interception, too. The body control, the play on the ball. He didn't drop it right. He secured it very well. So that's how you want to end a ball game. Is offense does their job, and then the defense, you just slam the door shut. You don't even make things interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think this is still a Rams team where I think there's no way you don't at the deadline think about getting a shutdown corner. I still think that's the most logical thing to do. But this, like we said coming into it, this was not the game where you need to worry about having a shutdown corner, because they don't have a true alpha number 1 receiver. And you look at the flip side, right? The Colts don't really have a true, he is their shutdown unbelievable corner. And so guess what? That's why he can get away with 15 targets to Puka and he converts 13 of them, because there's just no way that talent wins, right? And we don't have to worry about that in this game in terms of our secondary not being as talented as their receiving core. There are going to be games. We saw it last week against A.J. Brown. There's going to be games where you get exposed for not having an alpha corner against an alpha receiver, but this was not one of them. And so I thought Daniel Jones was decent at spreading the ball around. I think Tyler Warren is so freaking good. I have him on all my fantasy teams. I loved him at Penn State. He was very impressive. 5 for 70 through the air. Also had a rushing touchdown on like a fullback dive to him. But outside of that, outside of a couple big plays to Adonai Mitchell, or really just one big play, the receiving core didn't do much for the Colts today, and the Rams secondary deserves credit for that. You think if the Rams win the Super Bowl, they give Adonai Mitchell a ring? Like, I mean, is it possible? I mean, is that a little too far? I mean, let's say they win the division by 1 game. I mean, I'm just playing, obviously. I don't want to ride on the guy, but
I do want to say too, like you mentioned Matthew Stafford and just watching some of these quarterbacks. I'm not going to name names, Brock Purdy, but I mean, some of these check down merchants, right? Let's check the ball down. Let's fumble, For a dude to say, you know what, I'm going to launch this bad boy to a dude who has no catches in the game when I've got Devontae and Puka Nacua, I'm going to dime up Tutu in that spot. Like, it almost feels like he's a throwback quarterback from a different generation. The way he's just so fearless out there. The moment doesn't get to him. And yes, these close games, I saw Sean McVey say after the game, hey, at least we're not a boring team, right? Something to that extent. And this could help this Rams team where, look, we've seen them lose close games. We've seen them win close games. But, I mean, Brock, you tell me. I mean, that definitely has to be something where you don't love to be in those moments. But when you come out of them, you know how to execute in those situations. And they're not going to be afraid of those big moments in the playoffs when you don't blow out every team.
No, for sure. Even when they were down, I was like, I'm not really worried because it's 2 minutes left. I know they can put a 2-minute drive together. So I wasn't really scared as a fan. I was like, you know what? I know we got this. We can drive down. Even though the punt was down inside the 5, I'm like, we'll put it together because you know what? When it's something about Matthew Stafford, when he's pressured and the situation is on, he tends to come out on top. So I wasn't really worried at all.
Yeah, and I think it's Pave maybe here in the comments. He has an interesting point. He says they gave us the game like we gave away the Eagles game. I mean, that's certainly one way you can look at it. I think the bigger takeaway is the Rams play close games, and this is the NFL, right? This is going to happen. And so, like DMAC is saying, you don't want to play all these close games because it gives you an opportunity to lose games you shouldn't lose. But if you do survive playing a bunch of 50-50 games and you do get to the playoffs, you are that much more prepared for it. And we saw how the season ended last year. We were in a close game against a team that a lot of people didn't give us a shot to be in a close game against, and we got right there. And so for every game that, DMAC has to unclench his you-know-what, and I have to stop biting my nails, and we got to be nervous and all of that. There was people in the comments saying that they were getting cardiac arrest. They need to learn how to run marathons so that they can survive being a Rams fan. I hear you. Well, guess what? Maybe it's all worth it if we get to January and when there's another coin flip game, you get the job done. So we're going to take our break and we come back. We got plenty more to talk about. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Sean McVay today because obviously that was a big discussion. Some better red zone execution at times in this one. We'll talk about that. And hey, we got to look around the NFC, especially the NFC West, because we might just have cemented ourselves as top dog in the division once again. We'll do all of that after our break here on another victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, bear with me. I know there's going to be jokes in the live comment section, but here we go. Today's show is brought to you by Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. It's not just another ED pill, right? It's a total game changer for confidence. That's where Rugiet Long comes in, right? It's not just the average ED pill. It combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula so you can get hard and go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. So if you're ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom, head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. It's always tough getting through that one, I'll be honest. Back here live on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Hey, go hard and go the distance. Tutu Atwell with a football, guys. Calm down. Scoring a touchdown as the Rams escape with a 27-20 win. D-Mac, take it away.
That's one of your longer ad reads too. You know what I'm saying? That one's pretty wordy there.
Oh man, I've read that so many times. I've read that so many times, but for some reason, this is the first time I've read it with you guys in there, and the whole time I'm peeking at your cameras and just trying so hard not to laugh while I'm saying all that. And the comments are always great. Who needs it after a win like that? Tutu's touchdown got me blanked up. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but absolutely hilarious. Let's talk about Sean McVay a little bit because, there was a lot of conversation after the Eagles game, after the collapse. Anytime you lose a ball game, you're going to point to the head coach. Anytime you fail in the red zone, so many times when you have an offensive genius like Sean McVay, you're going to have to talk about it. And I think some people got a little confused by what we were talking about on the show as if we were doubting him. There's nobody doubting Sean McVay. We know he is one of, if not the best offensive mind in the world of football. But there were struggles in the red zone in that game. And today, a little bit different, I guess you could say. Obviously, you have that touchdown drive at the end of the first half where you're able to convert to Davante Adams. You did have to settle for a field goal on your first drive. Joshua Carty hits it at the 23-yard line, so you theoretically weren't in the red zone there. But we'll start with you, D-Mac. What did you think of McVay's, the play calling? There obviously were some cold stretches there, especially the third quarter. And the run game, you probably could have leaned on it a little bit more still. But what did you think of Sean McVay's play calling?
I think down the stretch, it was really good. I mean, it makes it look good when he gets that game winner with Tutu Atwell, but that was a really good play design. You had Higbee in motion. You had Davante Adams and Puka out there to go to a guy who's freed up like that. I think it was something that made sense. And I think you look at just the run and the pass throughout this game, that's going to be the big takeaways. It wasn't a really good game for Blake Corum, and Kyren Williams was really, really efficient. I mean, he had one of his better games that we've seen from him, and he did have that fumble, but I think for the most part, what really stands out is you're starting to see Matthew Stafford and Davante Adams build chemistry in the red zone. And that's always going to be the knock on a Sean McVay offense is the creativity, lack of creativity, the execution. I mean, you've heard it, death taxes and kicking field goals in the red zone with the Sean McVay offense, but you're starting to see the balance where, right? We saw them lean on Puka for the first down and he gets that late touchdown. And then even before that, when Stafford hit Davante Adams, that was a nice in-breaking route. And you're starting to see Stafford find his guys in those spots. So I like the fact that you're seeing more of a pass, an intermediate type of passing once they're getting in the opponent's field territory. So I actually think it was a step up for him. I think the Colts defense definitely looked pretty good and better, especially Chardavius Ward throughout stretches in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is a talented team, right? And it's a weird one where you kind of felt like the 3-0 start was fraudulent, but at the same time, you're like, not really. I think you just looked at the quarterback, Daniel Jones, and we're like, I don't know if this whole Indiana Jones shtick is sustainable, but no one's ever doubted if this is a talented roster. And you talk about the defense, you talk about Charvarius Ward, you talk about our guy, the Bruin Liatu Latu, who did have a sack today. It's a talented team, right? It absolutely is. And I do think that this game, it's kind of these last couple of games have prepared the Rams a little bit. You play an Eagles team, which is basically just good at everything, but they have Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and a stud wide receiver. It doesn't get any more similar to Saquon Barkley at the running back position than Jonathan Taylor, right? They're almost identical, just a little bit worse, right? So that prepares you. And then guess what you got coming up? You've got Christian McCaffrey. You got Derrick Henry, right? You've got these great running backs coming up. You've got other mobile quarterbacks in a Lamar like you had with the Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy maybe plays a little bit more like a Daniel Jones. All of these games are kind of preparing everybody. And you tell me, Brock, as someone who's done this for so many years on the field, you know what? You don't have that much time between games to prepare, right? So do you think it helps the Rams at all that you're playing against similar guys and Taylor and Saquon Barkley and now Christian McCaffrey and things like that?
Definitely. And then you can also take the little momentum from those games, and you could say, hey, we shut down a Saquon Barkley. We shut down a Jalen Taylor. So let's go out here and do the same to these next couple of running backs. We got, like you said, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. So I don't see why they can't do it. I'm loving the fact that, the defense is doing fundamental things. They're tackling really well. They're stopping the run, earning the right to rush the passer. And then when that opportunity comes, they're high pointing the ball in the secondary and coming away with picks. I mean, going back to your question about the offense, I think, when it comes to Sean McVay, bro, he always has a little tweak or a little thing in his offense, based on each game. Like this game was all the motions. It was the running back motioning out of the backfield to see if they were in zone or they were in man. You see the tight ends and the receivers motioning just to see what they were in. If he got his read, then they snapped the ball and they ran whatever play. So for me, man, it's McVay has a every week little tweak to his offense every week, depending on what the defenses does. So I think every week we're going to see something different. Every game we're going to see something different. This week I love the way they ran a wide zone, then they ran some inside zone, and I was like, bro, why are we running inside? We should always run outside. But I mean, as we continue to run in the third quarter, they start to shut that down. So I'm like, okay, you definitely got to continue to keep them honest. So you have to switch up different things. I'll say run traps, run quick hitting plays like that to kind of get the defense off balance. But running straight down the middle of the defense, that's not our game. We're a wide zone team, and if we need to hit a downhill run, we need to just do something like I said, traps, things like that. So for me, it's all about changing it up each week. McVey, he's a master at calling the games and offensive play caller. So we as Rams fans have to trust the process in that instinct. But for me, man, the Rams just getting it done is good enough for me as long as we get the dub, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was some scary moments, right? Like, let's not forget that the Rams had a QB sneak that did not work out, right? And you turn the ball over on downs in the first quarter, and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, are we doing this, right? Are we doing this again? Like, you did have a fumble in this ball game, and you're sitting there saying, are you kidding me? Are we doing this? Are we doing this, right? So, it's never going to be perfect. I thought that the resiliency from the Rams offense overall was encouraging.
I think the Rams offense too, it's like, it's not an offense where you have playmakers that are going to improvise, and when things break down, things are going to happen. Like Kyren Williams is not going to just break 5 tackles and get it run, right? It has to be well executed, as Brock's talking about. I mean, they've kind of really been adamant to transition to this more physical gap duo downhill run game. But then when you saw Kyren, when he's having success, he's stretching, right? He's out towards the sideline, stiff arming guys. And I think that's kind of the thing that it can be frustrating at times too, is that you have things that work and you exploit that, but then you go away from it. And I think right now where the Rams are at with Sean McVay is he knows what plays to call. He knows what works with this offense and this personnel, but I think he's kind of building his trust tree. And right now it's more like a trust, like twig, right? It's just like Puka Nacua is on it, Devontae, Kyren, and Stafford. Outside of that, it's like auditions for Blake Corum, who had a couple drop passes today and deflected one and was averaging less than 3 yards per carry. Is he going to fall in the trust tree? I would say probably after this one. And then you still haven't inserted Terrence Ferguson into this offense to be that stretch tight end. I think that's the one thing that you can look at for this offense that it's missing, is give Stafford as many options as he possibly can, knowing that, yes, he is most likely going to go to Puka and Devontae first or second, and rightfully so, but it's about keeping defenses honest and navigating your way through a 17-game season. So I still think they're in that process, but I also think, too, that everything has to be so perfectly executed from a blocking standpoint, from a play selection standpoint, and you see when Matthew Stafford, it's either he makes or doesn't make the throw. It's not like, oh, he broke the tackle and he rolled right and then he shook a guy off and then he found the guy downfield. It's not like that with Matthew Stafford, right? It's like he has his strengths, he has his weaknesses, and sometimes he can be a little bit of a statue out there, but he has to make throws. And for him to make those throws, he needs time to throw and he needs well-executed plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was, I forget what show I was rambling about it, but that's always been the biggest concern, is that it does feel like you have to be perfect for the Rams to put up 30 points. And, that's why we're sitting in here doing the predictions. And, I had it 31-21. I think we all had a 30 burger or something, right? It's like, it feels like outside of the third quarter, of course, it feels like the Rams kind of clicked on all cylinders and yet only put up 27, right? So it's like you're limited when you don't have a true X factor. But at the same time, and I keep bringing up that drive to end the first half, but that felt like the Rams' version of, F it, like I'm him type of moment, right? Because Matthew Stafford, I don't know, it felt like he uncorked like 4 100-mile-an-hour lasers to guys to help march you down the field at the end of the half when you absolutely needed that. And so while Matthew Stafford's superpower isn't having Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes moments, man, there's still not many guys on planet Earth that can do what Matthew Stafford did there to end the half and then to eventually win this darn ball game. We also have a superstar, maybe not the quarterback position in terms of running around and stuff, but Puka Nacua, man, we brought it up a little bit, but we have to talk about it a little bit more. Is he the best receiver in the NFL, guys? I mean, another casual 13 for 170 and a tud on 15 targets. I mean, what in the world are we talking about here? You know, you see a guy like Malik Neighbors go down. Jamar Chase doesn't have Joe Burrow for most of this season. Like, is this the season where Puka Nacua says, dang it, top 2 and I'm not 2? Like, come on, Brock.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a quarterback that can get you the ball, I mean, it all starts there, you know. You got a quarterback that can get you the ball and trust you with the ball. I think that's the biggest thing too. Like, he trusts Puka to catch the ball one-on-one in between two guys, or he's covered, he sees blanketed, he'll still throw it to Puka because he believes he'll make that catch. So I think that's a little bit about it, you know. Does he truly trust Devontae? Has he seen Devontae? Obviously, Devontae has a resume longest a receipt from Costco. But when you think about, you know, does he have that chemistry with Devontae? And I don't think it's there yet. I think it'll build throughout the season. But with Puka, he definitely knows this guy. What I love about this offense too, the number one cornerback is always on Devontae. He's still a threat. He's still a threat. And he's so much of a threat that they're putting their number one cornerback on Devontae. So Puka just gets to eat all day on whoever else is guarding him. Whoever else is guarding him might as well not even be out there because he's going to get the ball. He's going to catch the ball. And each time he catches the ball, it's 4 first downs. So I'm loving that aspect of our offense where everybody puts, you know, their eyes on Devontae rather than Puka, and Puka's just eating off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's no secret, right? I mean, isn't it funny? I mean, he was really good last year and the year before that, but I mean, 503 yards receiving through the first 4 games, and you got to give Davante Adams a lot of credit for that because the attention and where it allows Puka to line up, right? You're seeing more in the slot these days. You're seeing him just feel those soft zones like he's so great at, and Davante takes advantage of man coverage. So I think what makes them such a great fit is they're so different, but you can also see just some glimpses of Davante Adams type things in the early getting out of your breaks type of stuff. I mean, I'm seeing stuff from Puka this year as far as getting in and out of breaks. It's just a millisecond quicker that you can tell. It's like when you're around a dude long enough, you just kind of start talking like him. You know, you like talk like your friends. You start acting like your friends. You have their mannerisms. I'm starting to see that, just that little, you know, Devontae calls it the, you know what I'm saying? He calls it, you know, so I'm starting to see a little more from Puka in those spots. And as you point out, Gavin, I mean, this is a guy that, I mean, is he the best receiver in the NFL? I mean, look, let's be honest here. If it was an NFL GM and they could pick any receiver, I'm sure they'd take Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. But the fact that you can even enter Puka in that conversation, have to think about it, that's a testament, right? You're talking about not just a 5th round pick. He was the Rams' 4th pick in the 5th round. And right now, probably outside of Josh Allen, he's on that very short list of MVP candidates. But I will say, I love it, and I'm all about Puka Nacua. I think that he brings not just the talent, but he's sort of this team's identity at this point. Like the grit, the fight that they have, just the passion they play with. But I think what the ultimate question for this offense is going to be throughout the year is Puka going to be the biggest part of the Rams offense, or is he going to be the Rams offense? And I'd rather have him be the biggest part of the Rams offense and not just the entire focal point of that offense. And I think that with Devontae, with the piece they have in Stafford, they're not going to let that happen. And I think the potential is certainly there. But yeah, you couldn't ask for more. I did get nervous though. Like my man gets injured because he plays really hard and he left the game for a little bit with that thumb. So I always get I get scared, man.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. It's just one of those things where you're never going to be able to take that away from him, right? There's just certain guys where you're like, again, go down, don't fumble, don't hurt yourself. Like, you can't tell Puka Nacua to not finish every play with you lowering his shoulder and trying to get 3 more yards. That's just who he is, right? Like, and that's what makes him so special. It's kind of like, you know, I know we hate the Niners, but it's kind of what Debo was a couple years ago for the Niners, a very similar guy where it's like, Debo would be hurt every freaking 3 games because you're never going to tell Debo Samuel to not try to run someone over. It's just what he does, right? But one last thing on Puka. He entered this game leading the league in receptions with 29. Just casually throws another 13 up today. So he will certainly be in this running for this Triple Crown, just like Cooper Kupp, right? I mean, I guess it's death taxes and Sean McVay, you know, drawing up Triple Crown candidates on the Rams. We absolutely love to see it. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, let's quickly look around the NFL and remind you why we were all so high on the Rams this season, why we picked them to win the division, why we said we're one of the best teams in the NFC, because not only in the NFC, in the league, we saw some big names lose once again, and we're one of those big names that did not lose this week. We'll talk about that, and we'll look ahead to that 49ers game after our last break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Now, finally, on this Victory Sunday, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season, it's here. It's well underway, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's 3 stacks. Maybe not for Big Brock. 3 stacks for him is probably, 3,000, maybe 3 million. But for someone like me, $300, that's 3 stacks, baby. That's a lot of money to get just putting down $5. What I love about FanDuel, there's so many ways to play. You've built parlays. You can try player props. And what I love most is those live bets, baby. You can watch the first quarter, see how things are going, see that there's no answer for Puka Nacua, and then you can live bet Puka Nacua, right? So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Back here live one more time. Victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show, the last squad show of September. I can't believe it. We're already going into October, and we're entering October, as the Rams are, in a pretty good spot, right? You're 3-1. Your only loss is to the 4-0 defending Super Bowl champs, right? So you can't be too critical about how the Rams have started this season. And just, again, looking at the way other teams played this, today. You had the 3-0 Bucks lose. Obviously, they, like us, are 3-1 with their only loss being to the Eagles. But still, you see them go down. And the best game of all is the San Francisco 49ers are no longer undefeated. They lose 26-21 at home against the Jags. Other big names like the Ravens are 1-3, right? I mean, the Bengals are at risk of their season being over early if they lose again and Joe Burrow going down. Feels like a lot of favorites in the NFL this season are struggling. And fortunately, that's not the case for the Rams. We saw the Chargers fall to 3-1, losing to the Giants today. And again, that Arizona Cardinals stock, DMAC, I hope you sold it at Fidelity, losing losing to the Seahawks and everything. It creates a situation where the Rams might be the second best team in the NFC after all, maybe third. I mean, the Packers lost last week. Obviously, they play the Cowboys tonight. What are early sayings or early sights, Big Brock? Where do you think the Rams slot in the NFC?
In the total NFC, I definitely think they're in top 5. I think they have a complete team with a quarterback, with 2 great receivers. I think the defense is young. They're hungry. They get after it. So for me, definitely a top 5. I don't know where they are in that top 5 because there are a lot of good NFC teams, but I'll say the Rams are definitely in the top 5 of the NFC teams at this moment.
What about you, D-Mac?
I would have them. I'm with Brock. I think they're in the top 3, but I think Philly, you win that game head-to-head. I mean, if anyone is going to say the Rams are better than Philly right now, I think you're definitely just straight up a homer in your bias because we have to beat them to say we're better than them, right? So yeah. I think that it's safe to say Philly. Another team, honestly, I've been pretty impressed with offensively still is that Detroit Lions team. I think the top 3 teams in the NFC, it's the Eagles. I mean, they're the champs until they're not. The Rams need to find a way to beat them. They're going to definitely match up, I think, no doubt about it, at some point in the postseason. And then I think the Lions and the Rams are pretty close. I think the Lions, of course, they're not breaking in new players like the Rams are, so I think their offense is a little further ahead than them. The defense is still doing a lot of things. But I think it's those 3 teams right now. And then that next tier, I think it's the Packers and the Buccaneers, where a couple weeks ago, a lot of people had the Packers ahead of the Rams, especially after the Micah Parsons trade, how they looked early on, then they lose a game to Cleveland. So I think that, hey, you're top 5, and that's where you want to be because you don't want to peak too early. And you do look like the best team in the NFC West. And the Niners, solid. Seahawks, I think, have been a surprise team. Like my Cardinals, quote unquote, air quotes, they have not had the year that I thought they were going to have for sure. But I don't know about you guys. Right after that Rams game ended, I flipped over that Niners game to hate watching. Hey, in the words of the great O'Shea Jackson Sr., a.k.a. Ice Cube, today was a good day. Rams win, 49ers lose, and then you head into that big TNF showdown. So that's going to be box out. I cannot wait to hear Brock and talk about, a matchup like this against that team because it definitely feels like there's real tension between these two organizations. The Rams have gotten what the 49ers have been after for the last decade, and that is a Super Bowl trophy. And I think that the 49ers feel like they thought, oh, we're just going to take this division again and this and that. But the Rams, I think, made a real statement today.
Yeah, absolutely. And the question becomes with this Niners team. I mean, you watch that game the same way, maybe we were doubting Daniel Jones a little bit after this start. It feels like Brock Purdy, he's had like a couple years, right? Not a couple games like Daniel Jones with the Colts, a couple of years. And it still feels like you're never, at least I personally am never going to say, oh yeah, I feel totally safe with Brock Purdy the way I do with a Matthew Stafford, right? I mean, I don't know what the final stat line was for him today, but I know he turned the ball over a bunch of times today. I definitely know that. And this is the Niners team. Hey, maybe it's because their fans are so dang annoying, but they got bad luck. They're never healthy. Obviously, Bosa gone now. We'll see if Kittle plays. Brock Purdy's just coming back to this team, right? So I think because of some of the discontinuity with the Niners, with guys getting hurt, some being re-entered in this team, I mean, the Jags aren't a great team, and they were up 2 scores in San Francisco earlier in the ball game before the Niners try to have another crazy comeback. So I think it's 2 similar teams, the Rams and the Niners, 2 teams that haven't really blown out anybody yet. A lot of close games. I have no idea who's going to win this one. Certainly we'll have our picks on the midweek show. But yeah, I mean, this is a huge opportunity to stamp yourself as the best team in the NFC West. Any final thoughts from either of you as we wrap this one up? I mean, again, it's just so huge to be 3-1 if you're the Rams and you don't really care how the heck it happened. My last question is, what's your reaction going to be to all these national media people or maybe just Rams haters that are going to say, oh, the Rams got lucky. Oh, the Colts aren't actually that good. And this game more so proved that the Colts aren't that good, not that the Rams are good. Like what's going to be the rebuttal to people who say things like that?
I think the Rams haven't really truly entered that national conversation yet. They're out here hanging out on the West Coast, palm trees and sunshine. They know the talent they have, but until I think maybe when they beat the 49ers this week, if they take care of business against the 49ers and you got yourself a pretty nice cemented, okay, this is what the Rams are through 5 games, and then they beat the Niners on a standalone game, I think then they really enter that national conversation. Because right now, when you talk about the Rams, it's, the 2 blocked field goals in the 4th quarter, they hung with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's kind of the narrative on the Rams right now. So I think that for them to really change that, they have to win big, and they have to do it for multiple weeks against good teams. I think it really starts against the 49ers. Today was they could only lose today, right? There was no moral victories to be had. If they lose today, they're like 2-2, and we're really starting to recalibrate expectations maybe for what this team is capable of. Sure. So I think today it was not necessarily, you talk about it being a must win, but I do think that term, some people think, okay, you only use that if it's elimination, but I do think it was a must win to be able to get to where you're hoping to get to. And that is to be one of those teams that is discussed. And I'm very curious to see when those power rankings come out. I don't think the Rams will take a big leap, right? I don't think they will, but I think in our perception, I think that based on how we've seen them perform against some of the better teams in the league, we know they're a top 3 team in the NFC, even though the probably national pundits will give them that credit right now. I think you'll still see the Packers and maybe the Buccaneers ahead of them as we speak.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to just add, when I say must win, because good teams beat teams that they're supposed to beat. I mean, you don't allow a team to come in here that you feel like you're better than and come in here and beat you at home. So that's why I've said a must-win game. It wasn't an elimination game, but it was a must-win game because looking at your roster, talent-wise, that you have the better team. So you shouldn't lose to this team unless, execution ain't there and other things like that play a factor. So I think that's the biggest thing for us. We did beat what I feel like some weaker teams in the league. So we have to beat we have to beat a good team in the NFL right now. So if that's the 49ers, if that's Baltimore, if we come out of those 2 games and we come out on top, then I think we'll still start getting some of that national attention.
Yeah, and again, the NFL is so funny because you come into this season and you're like, oh, geez, like the Eagles are going to be tough, but surely the Colts game will be easy. And then, oh, man, the Niners and Ravens are going to be, super, super good. But then, hey, at least the Jags will be easy. And then you look and it's like, wait, the Ravens are 1-3. The Jags are 3-1. The Colts were 3-0 coming into this ball game. Like the NFL it doesn't make sense sometimes, but that's why it's the best movie, the best TV series, the best thing on planet Earth. And gosh darn it, we all love it so much, and we love it a lot more when the Rams win like they did on this Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, here's the thing too, like wins and losses in September count just as much as November, December too, in January. So yeah, I guess what, in a league where you only play 17 games, a home game against the Colts, I don't care. It is a must win because it changes how the organization views this team's potential, right? If you lose that game, you're like, oh, really? Should we go all in on a corner? You just lost the Colts, right? You know what I mean? So there's all these little moving parts. So yeah. I do think I don't know about you guys. Like I was like, oh my goodness, are we gonna lose to the Colts? Like I did that thing. Like we're gonna really lose to the Colts. We're gonna lose to the Colts at home. You know what I mean? Like you start getting nasty with yourself.
Yeah.
And just the vibe from a vibe check standpoint, it goes 180, 3-1 versus 2-2, and you're still building. So yeah, I absolutely think today. I totally agree with you, Brock. It was a must win. As crazy it sounds, you can't lose to a Colts team at home led by Daniel Jones and expect to be on a trajectory to go to the Super Bowl. Like that would definitely had kind of popped our big kind of early season expectation balloon in my eyes.
Yeah, and I think that just shows what the expectations are this year, because I think if you do the exact same thing, if you put us in the exact same position, but it's last season where maybe we didn't know that the defense was going to be dominant and we didn't know, how amazing Puka was, those types of things. Like you say, hey, a 3-0 Colts team and you lose a close ball game. Like, hey, it's the NFL, but man, the standards, the expectations, D-Mac, Big Brock, and we all have this team winning the NFC West. We all have this team maybe making it to the NFC Championship game. And so, dang it, it seems crazy to say, are we really going to lose to the 3-0, one of the best, teams to start the season, Colts? But hey, when you think you're going to win the Super Bowl like D-Mac does, when you think you're going to be near it like Big Brock and I do, yeah, it becomes a must-win game. And I'm telling you, as much as we love seeing the Niners lose today, the Niners are going to be that much better on Thursday because they lost. As much as it's nice to see the Ravens at 1-3 when you face them and you think, hey, they're going to have pressure on them. Guess what? The Ravens are also going to be playing their best football because they're 1-3, right? So it's going to be tough the next 2 weeks, but it's going to be interesting as well. All right, this was fun as always. Shout out to everybody in here. And in case you guys were wondering, we're nervous for the Niners game, but excited. But in case you were wondering, Jeffrey says the Rams should destroy SF. Our guy who's always here says 30-10 Rams on Thursday, right? So maybe we think it's going to be a close game, but maybe Rams Nation doesn't. They're feeling good. Yeah, it's a division game. It's going to be close, right? It's always going to be close. But hey, maybe we just hate the Niners so much that we will never admit that it's going to be close. We want to beat them by 100. All right, it was fun. Have a great rest of the Sunday. We got another good game tonight. I expect the Packers to kill the Cowboys just because Micah Parsons will probably, flip off Jerry Jones after a sack. But it'll be fun tonight. Couple games tomorrow. And we'll be back here on Thursday to preview, of course. We got a preview. Actually, wait, now I think about it. No midweek show. We're just doing a midweek post-game show. That's right. This Thursday night. So we'll see you guys back here Thursday night. Big Brock, hey, I'll be honest, bro. You're going to have to stay up late there in Houston or in Texas because when does that game end for you? 10 p.m.? Like
something like that. But hey, for the Rambling, I'll do what I have to.
That's why he's a legend. We'll see you guys here Thursday night. Don't forget Rams, Niners. Nothing else needs to be said. Take care. Have a good one. And as always, whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? The Locked On Rams squad. The Mob squad. Rams win, baby.